Last hay of the year. Wish me luck. And now may I present to you the last bale of 2025. Well, all said and done, we ended up with 15 full-size bales and then the little runt bale here that you saw. So not the 20 plus that I was hoping for, but you know, it ain't nothing. And I guess the way to think about it is that's about a week's worth of feed for these cows. And there's probably 3 days of grass sitting here waiting for them. So now I want to run the baler back home, get it blown out and kind of ready to just sit for the winter. And then I want to come back and get these bales picked up off the field because we're supposed to get like an inch of rain tomorrow. It's not that I'm worried about the bales getting rained on, but I don't want to then drive the tractor out here when things are wet and tear the grass up. So we'll get that done, and then the rest of this video is probably going to be in the shop because, like I say, we got a storm coming. That's what's going on today on Farmertylerranch. This hay is a little bit wetter than the hay that I normally bale, and I knew that while I was baling it, but with what the weather is supposed to do tomorrow, this was gonna happen today, whether it was wet or not. I've gone through and I've checked all these bales, or double checked them I should say, and I would say we're anywhere from like 15 to 18%. Usually I would want to see hay from like 14 to 16% is perfect, and this is a little bit wetter than that, but it's not like too wet, and this will be fine. And because some people will wonder, too wet is over 20%. Really, I don't like to put up anything at 20, but it does happen sometimes. You know, you find one here and there, but if you're consistently getting 20s or above, that's too wet. Well, it's the next day now, and as you can see behind me, the sun is shining, although the weatherman assured me it will rain this afternoon. I guess we'll see. I guess you guys are ready to move, huh? After that last little rain shower that we had, all these spots that don't get irrigated during the summer are pushing up this fresh, cool season grass. The cattle will be very happy to find that. Well, everything looks good over here. I did have intentions of bringing these cows home like around now, but my truck is still down, so this is gonna have to wait for at least another week or two. Well, back home, finally, I ran a bunch of errands off camera, nothing that interesting. But we're back now, and it is getting dark, but still no rain yet. So I'd like to try to make some more progress on the hydraulics project on this tractor. And where we last left off, I made a bracket that bolts onto the top of the rear end here, and it will eventually hold my remote hydraulic couplers. In case you forgot or didn't see it, this is the bracket, and it's gonna bolt right in there. And if you remember from that video, there was one last piece of the puzzle, and that was a clamp to hold those hoses, which I went ahead and made off camera. But you can see this is just a piece of 1/2 inch by 2 inch flat bar with 2 big holes drilled in it, and then I slid it down the middle so that the 2 halves will come apart. You can put the hoses in there and then it'll pinch them together. This piece is gonna weld to the bracket right around here somewhere. But before I start welding all this stuff together, I wanna clean this up a little bit, true up some edges, and to do that, I got a new tool in the shop, and it is a belt grinder. We got 2 pieces here. See how that works? And where the belt grinder is really gonna shine is I can just put them right on the belt here and really get this edge true. You know, I cut this with a bandsaw and it's not bad, but it can definitely be better. This should also be really nice for like rounding corners on stuff like that. You can make little attachments like with a dowel that comes up here, and you can get perfectly rounded corners that way. So I've got a lot of plans for this. I've wanted one of these for a really long time. And yeah, I'm excited to try this thing out. Not that looks count for much, but look how nice that is. Well, the belt grinder did a pretty good job, but I will say, boy, you need a lot heavier gloves than what I was wearing. They get hot really fast on that machine. So now that I think I've got all my pieces done, I'm gonna go ahead and tack this all together and then test fit it on the tractor to make sure everything fits, clearances are all good and all of that before I finish welding and eventually paint this. Somewhere in there. The hard part here is going to be fitting everything together. This is where I need that third hand I'm always talking about. Just get close. I was probably supposed to put these on first. Oh, come on. Stretch, don't break. There we go. Well, I'm pretty happy with this, or at least that's what I think. For now, everything pretty much looks the way that I was kind of envisioning that it would. This toolbox here is protecting the hoses. They're tucked in behind it, so I don't think they're going to be in the way of anything. The couplers are more or less in the middle of the tractor. They're not perfectly in the middle, but just to kind of give you some context, when I was figuring out where to put them, the easiest place would have been like right over here on the side of the fender. But I decided that I didn't want them over there because I was just afraid that, you know, the hoses would be too close to this tire when you were making a turn with whatever implement you might end up having, that the hoses could get caught on the tire, which is not good. With the couplers being here in the middle of the tractor, I think that's much less of an issue, or much less of a potential problem, I should say. There's one area here though where I'm a little worried about clearance, so I think let's start up the tractor and cycle the 3-point and see if it ever touches. And if it does, then we'll just have to figure out a way to get these hoses up out of the way, or I might have to remake this lower hose a little bit longer so that I can pull them up to clear. All right, so this is where you need to be watching, is between this lower hose and this little doodad right here. I don't think it can touch, but you know, you gotta check. Good time to check for leaks at this valve as well. Right there, but that's fine. So I'm not sure if you guys could see it from your angle, but when this arm got all the way up, it did touch this hose. But you know, that's the nice thing about not using hard lines, is if it just barely touches it, it's not going to hurt anything. Although I may want to wrap at least this hose, but maybe both, in some, you know, anti-wear material or something like that. But for now, this is fine. This piece didn't touch, and that was what I was really concerned about. I don't see anything dripping off of the valve, which is good. I shouldn't be able to detect leaks in any of the hose connections until we actually use the valve, because right now there should be no oil in these hoses. So I think what I'm saying is that I can take this all apart, finish welding the bracket, and get some paint on it. And you also may notice that this moves a little bit, but I think that's just because I don't have these bolts tight, because, you know, the thinnest metal that I use on this bracket is 1/4 inch, and it shouldn't be able to flex like that much. So I think that's just loose bolts is what we're seeing there. At least I hope. I don't know, before I paint it, I'm thinking about rounding this corner off and this one as well. You know, just because that would look better. Well, I dare not touch that with my bare hand right now. It's actually getting pretty hot in the welding gloves, but I think that looks a lot better. And if you're typing a comment right now telling me that that was a waste of time, no one's ever gonna see it, you just don't understand me at all. Wow, the paint's actually coming out. You just never know. Scratch it. But if you're gonna scratch it on this side. We'll let those guys sit overnight, and probably then some. You know, with this cooler weather, it's gonna take that paint a little bit longer to dry. But the next time I bolt those pieces on the tractor will be the last time, and then the next step in this project is the handle. I've been playing around with some scrap pieces of metal, trying to figure out where I want the handle to be, and also how I'm gonna end up attaching it to the valve itself. I've got some ideas on how I wanna do that, but I think it's gonna have to wait until the next video. Thanks for hanging out with me today, guys, and I hope I'll see you again on Farmer Tyler Ranch.